Well, thank you very much, and I'm really honored to be presenting and such a esteemed audience and the other panelists. And we're jumping from some very high advanced technology, helping humans into mineral exploration. But I like to believe that what we produce will also help indirectly in the same way the humans and the our evolution and energy transition and the rest. So yes, thank you. My name is Elena Clarici. I'm one of the founders and also CEO and director of the Electrum Discovery. We're a publicly traded company listed on TSXV. We trade under ticker ELY, ELY. We're a copper gold exploration company, and our focus is indeed not far from Austria. We are in Balkans. We're in a country called Serbia, Republic of Serbia. What makes us special? I think a lot of companies would say the same thing. Clearly, we have a world-class team. We operate in a very interesting market with strong fundamentals of copper and gold. But I think what is really the key interest that we are starting to gather from investors is the scale of our opportunity and the scale on both projects, both in Timok and in Tlamina, that both of them have a potential to make a very big discovery. I like to start with introducing my team because people are the ones who can make it, who can break it. So myself, I'm one of the founders. I'm half Italian, half Serbian, so I do speak the language. I do know the culture. I do know the projects. I have my first degree from University of Belgrade. So very, very relevant to where we operate. Another founder is Michael Thompson. He's a director. He retired as a head of international exploration for Newmont. He worked for Newmont. He worked for Freeport. So he's a true world-class copper expert or copper porphyry expert. And he was the one who encouraged me and a group of other investors to go back into Tethyan Belt and particularly into West Tethyan, where generally markets feel that there is still more discoveries to be made. Other people on the board, Eric Rasmussen, former head of mining and energy for European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, very bullish on anything to do with mining in Europe, also very big on corporate governance, transparency, and bringing all the modern international standards of operation in all the countries, including the Eastern Europe and Balkan countries. Ralph Rushton, probably known to some of you. I don't know how many of you are in the audience who actually follow the mining sector. He's currently CEO of Aftermath Silver, a company that is also gaining quite a bit of a follow-up, but very well known in the markets, both for his geological expertise, but also capital markets. And last but not the least, Michael Jones. He joined us earlier this year. 40 years of experience in capital markets and starting the companies and building them to billion-dollar companies and has a number of discoveries under his name. We are very proud of our in-country team. So our philosophy was always to have a senior board and really build most of the expertise in the country so that there will be a certain knowledge transfer from our senior board members and the management into the country team. So we have a geologist who joined us from Zijin, like Veljko Dikic, from Strickland, Luka Jovic, a very senior geotechnician, Vučko, who worked for Dundee and Avala, Terra Balkanica, and many others. So we are continuing to build a team, especially now that we are starting, or we are nearly there to start drilling. So we do need a lot of people on the ground. So I will touch a little bit ahead. We did our public debut by acquiring the company called Medgold Resources, which for us was more than just a RTO deal. Medgold already had an asset in Serbia, so by acquiring Medgold, we actually consolidated the position in Serbia. Kevin Bales was the CFO of Medgold. He remained with us, which was a great choice, a great decision on our behalf, because having Kevin as CFO really enabled us to have a completely seamless transition from a private into a public sphere. And also Ralph was equally on the Medgold as well. So touching only a little bit on our structure and, shareholders and the rest. So we're still very much held in a retail hands. Our public float is 70%. On our latest fundraise, which was closed in October, we started to get some more senior institutions like Crescat Capital, another institution from Australia, Syndicate Minerals. We have a Bulgarian mining family office, Asarel, holds 2%, and then we have Pan Pacific, it's a Canadian institution, 1.5%, and Fortuna Mining, 1.5%. So we're starting to see more of an institutional interest, but nevertheless, it's still wildly held in the public float. And then management and insiders, we have about 40%. We have been trading very well. So for this company of our size, the volumes are truly phenomenal. Average is about 200,000 a day, but there are days when we trade about 1 million shares, which really, I have to repeat, for the size of our company, which is only 10 million market cap, that's something very interesting. And I think that's what these new institutions coming in, they feel more comfortable investing because of the ability to trade. So we are in Serbia, and you can just about, you can't see Austria on the map. And our Serbia, for those who don't know, has really jumped recently, as a sort of second biggest copper producer in Europe after Poland. This is excluding Russia, so I have to clarify that. This year, we have been included as a country for the first time in the Fraser Institute. So we are rated as the 5th best mining destination in Europe after Ireland, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and yeah, that's it. Then we're number 5. Zijin Mining, who acquired a lot of assets in Serbia, pretty much everything to do with copper. That's really this production from Zijin has put Serbia as the second biggest copper producer in Europe. But what is important, the country has been historically known as a mining country. Modern mining we see for about 100 years, but the first traces of mining and the copper smelting are found in the region where we actually all operate, about 5000 BC. So it's a long history and an incredible mineral wealth of the country. Really what puts Serbia back onto the scene, especially when it comes to copper, is the discovery of a world-class, and in a true sense, world-class copper deposit, Čukari Peki, which was discovered by Reservoir Minerals, expanded by Nevsun, and then ultimately acquired by Zijin Mining for 1.4 billion Canadian dollars. So I often say, if I have one sentence to say, if people are asking me, what are you doing? What is this all about? I say, well, we are here to repeat and to find another Čukari Peki, and we feel that we have now a pretty strong chance of doing that. However, we are not one project company. So yes, Timok East is that's the project which is in Timok and next to all the big mines in Timok. And that's our flagship for now. That's where we're spending the money. That's where most of the news is coming. And that's where the markets are getting a little bit excited about. However, we do have another project which we call Novo Tlamino. That's the project that we consolidated after acquiring Medgold. It is an advanced exploration, almost pre-development, because we have the inferred resource of 670,000 gold equivalent ounces and a PEA that was completed in 21, which we are now updating that PEA. So that's we are very busy. We're a small team, which I think even my predecessor was talking about 18 people. We are less than 18. but we are getting there, but we're certainly busy and delivering. So Timok East is the location. It's in very famous, world-class known and deposit, or the trend called Timok Magmatic Complex. As you can see on this map, I mean, there is some seriously big mines, operating mines around us, from Bor, Veliki Krivelj, Čukaripeki, and then Dundee Precious Metals have been very active lately, and in particular with their latest discovery of Choka Rakita. So what this is the scale of this map is true. So when you see these red blocks, it's actually a true size, or reflects the true size. So what is the excitement is the scale of our anomaly in Timok East. So if you compare that particular rectangle, where is our anomaly, with the existing mines of Veliki Krivelj, which is only 3 kilometers away, and Bor, then you can see why we are feeling more and more confident that we have something that market will like. The Timok Magmatic Complex, as I said earlier, has been subject to quite a big investment lately. And since 2016, when Nevsun acquired Reservoir, and then Zijin acquired Nevsun, in that period of time, the region has seen about $4 billion that have gone into that region. And Zijin made, around this time last year, they made another pledge that they're going to invest a further $3.8 billion to expand the Čukaripeki and all the infrastructure in that particular district. So that is very important, because first of all, the size of this investment in the country is it's truly remarkable. Infrastructure, and I will have at some point early next year investor trip, and I invite everybody, especially people who are in Europe, because it's really not far to get to the field, but it's now becoming very, by the international standards, a very good place to operate. So you have the superb infrastructure, the roads, the power, water supply, all kind of ancillary shops and workshops, and the manufacturing, the labs, the SGS, ALS. So it's you could be anywhere in the world. So that's we feel it's a very good place to operate, and of course geology is there to support all of that. So when we our Timok East has 3 licenses, two are continuous. So Luka and Makovište, that's this bigger block, and then we have one on the top which is called Bukova Glava. We have applied for additional ground, but this is what we have today. This is 123 square kilometers, but really our focus was on this southern part of Makovište license, where we discovered our Bambino anomaly. Bambino anomaly today, after a year of exploration, it's 1.8 kilometers copper gold anomaly with a very high grades of copper and gold. We had one sample literally a year ago. If we had this meeting a year ago in December 23, there was only one known rock chip sample that we inherited in a database of 3% copper. And when we closed the financing in January, we felt, okay, well, that's as good starting point as any other. Let's see what is happening around that particular rock chip sample. So we did a series of soils and the very tight grid, and that's how we discovered Bambino. And then in addition to Bambino, there's now the anomaly is growing, and it's today stands at 1.8 kilometers. As I mentioned earlier, very close to all the surrounding mines. We are less than 5 kilometers from Zijin's Veliki Krivelj, copper gold porphyry deposit. And then we're 10 kilometers from that famous Čukaripeki. those who are, if there are any geologists on this call, if they can see the pictures on at the bottom of this slide, that's where the geologists get really excited when they see this hydrothermal stockwork material with limonite and copper oxides, which are exposed on the surface. And we keep seeing this type of rock repeatedly. So we have done a trench. We are following the soil, very sort of tight soil sampling. We did a trenching, 300 meters long trench with the 3 perpendicular cross trenches. And that gave us 135 meters of at an average of 0.43% copper. However, we have some other intercepts which are higher, especially the one on the top, which is 13.5 meters at 1.72% of copper. So we have additional gold dominant intervals, and there is also possibility, and we will know only after we drill, that there is actually a parallel gold trend. But for now, we are really focused on the copper. In addition to Bambino, or what where the trenching was and where all of the activity is, we have done some additional soils. We have detected 2 other anomalies, northern and northwestern anomaly. On the northern anomaly, we have one particular sample that returned 7.5% copper, and that will continue soils, and will probably carry on the same principles, trenching and the geophysics and drilling. But right now we are ready for drilling, or we are getting ready for drilling. As of today, the IP has started in the field, and we believe that in about 10 days we will finish at least the portion of the IP that's going over the central Bambino, so that we can start drilling, because we have the drill targets. We know where we want to drill spatially, but what we still are missing is the direction of drilling. Are we going to do vertically or under the angle? So it's very exciting. So with a bit of luck, we may start before Christmas, or certainly before the new year. But if we don't, because of the weather and obviously Christmas and the festivities, January, we are ready. We have a drill contractor. We have all the permits and the agreements in place, and everything to turn on the drilling. So that's where, as I say, when there are, when you read all these chat rooms and when people call, I think this excitement around drilling, excitement about possibility of having a potential discovery, it's growing. And we are definitely very excited about what we are seeing on the ground. And other companies, I have to say, we have been approached by a few majors who are looking, and it just shows how the big companies are so desperate to put their hands on anything that may look like a promising copper deposit, because we are by every mean, we are so early and green. However, the majors are looking, and right now we have like 5 of them in our data room and in the field. So 3 of them, they've already visited properties. So that is our Timok East, and that's pretty much our key project. However, having said that, we're not spending money, or certainly not proportionally as much time as we're doing in Timok. But I wouldn't forget, I wouldn't like you to forget and overlook our Novo Tlamino project. So earlier, when I said we did RTO with a company called Medgold, which was a shell deal, because Medgold at the time when we acquired them was 500,000 market cap. So every matrix, it was a shell. However, for us was a lot more than just a shell getting to the market. So Medgold had Donje Tlamino as a license and Surlica Dukat. Donje Tlamino is where Barje inferred resource is. And then we brought into the marriage 3 other licenses: Radomnica, Ljubata, and Crnoštica. So doing that deal in January this year, we not only achieved the public listing, but also we consolidated that region, which now at 500 square kilometer has really every right to be called district scale opportunity. It's a resource stage deposit and with additional gold targets. So the one that we are pursuing gently is Karamanitsa and also Jub target. So I think we've done some sampling on Karamanitsa and that we will be announcing soon. So barrier, the gold deposit, I'll just quickly move to this slide. So barrier, the 670,000 of gold equivalent ounces, which is mainly gold and silver as a credit, is kind of formed or is seated in this cap. It's on the top of a potentially, which we would like to test, potentially bigger deposit. Initially, Medgold drilled this together with Fortuna Mining or Fortuna Silver at the time. They could see 1 million ounces, and for Fortuna, that at the time was really not enough. They then subsequently moved into West Africa and acquired Rex Gold, and Fortuna Mining today is a $1 billion company plus. So they abandoned their joint venture and Medgold in a times where COVID couldn't raise any more money and the whole thing just went into, it was just forgotten. However, what we are doing now, first of all, we did tidy up the structure. So Fortuna Mining has 1% NSR, but we have now 100% the project. And what is happening, literally this week, our team is down in the field looking structurally if we have potentially another exploration target in the middle of this potential deposit, because this is where we have inferred resource. At the bottom, there is a small known base metal lead zinc mineral deposit or occurrence, I would rather call it that way. So having gold, silver, arsenic on the top and base metal at the bottom suggests intermediate sulfidation deposit, which then leads this whole middle ground as a very notable exploration target. They hadn't had time. They drilled a few holes, non-conclusive holes, but they really didn't have time or money to do any structural, any kind of systematic exploration. We just flown structural geologists from Peru to give us a view on this medium ground or middle ground, and that's what we're hoping between the structural geologist and some further soils and geophysics that we can advance this barrier deposit and expand by expanding this middle ground. Nevertheless, we still have the PEA, which we, by the way, we're also updating. So as we speak, the this PEA is being updated. I hope to have a new PEA announced. I think it's going to be after Christmas. So even on the old resource, and mind you, this PEA is done at the prices, look at the assumptions, $1,500 gold and $16 silver. So clearly the prices have gone significantly higher. So that's why we commissioned the update of the PEA. Of course, costs have gone higher, so this won't just double. It won't be as simple as that. However, we know it will be higher numbers and still very robust economics. And this is a 8-year mine life, 50,000 ounces a year at a very modest cost of $464 per ounce. So it's a smaller operation, but there is a market for this smaller operation. We're not proposing to develop it. However, there are enough of the interest of people to come in and develop it for us if we decide to go there. I mean, as I say, our focus is still Timok, and we are only spending time and money marginally on this project. However, it is an asset that I hope market will recognize and will also support our share price revaluation. In addition to Barje, there are two other targets, Karamanitsa and Jub. Karamanitsa is particularly interesting because there are signs for not just gold, but actually copper gold. And in particular, we're excited about the presence of Wugi silica, which is one of the very common and very well known pathfinder mineral for the porphyry and porphyry deposits. So this is something that we will also throughout 25 hopefully be able to spend a little bit more money on that, and to do more soils and the additional geophysics, so that we can fine tune and have some more of the drilling. And same for Jub Jub. This is a target which is, you know, polymetallic. It's a lead, zinc, gold, and silver. There are sort of strong geochemical anomalies in historic soil samples over 3 kilometers length. We haven't done any work, and this is again something that we have on our back burner, and depending on everything, availability of cash and the team, we will follow up in a, if anything, in a more kind of modest exploration. So that's the so this is just for, again, geologists or people say, well, what you're hoping to get is, again, as I say, Bambino, it's our key target or key anomaly, and we're hoping to have a high sulfidation epithermal geological model, which, you know, that it can really have a size of a world-class deposit. And that's it. That's I hope you have, I didn't, you know, I think
No, it's all good. It's 28. There's still 2 minutes. Listen, very, very interesting project. Obviously, coming out of the gate with this transaction and having a resource project, PEA to update, this is already tremendous news. I think that when we look at the numbers of the old PEAs, we can imagine that the number can only get better. How much then we'll see with time. But one of the things that I want to discuss with you is that obviously the the Tatian belt is one of the most, in my opinion, underrated belt as of copper that we have in the entire world. We're used with the subduction zone. You've got all the one in Chile and so on. Everyone knows that, but people tend to forget that the paleo subduction zones are the one that gave Oyu Tolgoi and other massive, massive deposits out there. Can you, in a 1 minute, tell us a little more about that belt and why it's significant?
Well, I mean, geologically it's significant, as you just said, and absolutely the geology is comparable to the northern, Southern American geology and the major deposits that we've seen in northern, especially Southern America. What Tatian Belt had misfortune, if I may call it this way, that is really gone through a very politically unstable countries from Iran, Iraq, you know, even Turkey to a certain extent. So that's why over the modern history, we didn't see such a big investment as you've seen in Southern America. And that's why it's still largely unexplored. Having said that, I don't see anybody's going to go in near future to Iraq or Iran to do any exploration. But the western side where we are, where the Turkeys and Bulgaria, that's, you know, clearly countries which are very open for business, and people are solidly and, you know, comfortably investing there. But geology obviously crosses all these political challenges, and hopefully, you know, we will see more of the you know, more of the monies, not just for us but for everybody else who is in the region.
Perfect. Well, that was very, very clearly explained. Elena, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this, letting us discover your company and your great project that you have here in Europe. So we'll be sure to follow the Electrum Discovery Corp story, and hopefully see great development within the next few months. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.